If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and another tutorial. Today I'm happy to sew along with you the candy bag by Petal Sewing Patterns. This is the small size. There are two sizes that are included in the pattern. I just really like the small size. I haven't made the large size yet though, so we'll see. Let me show you some of the amazing features of this bag. So it does have a crossbody strap. I just don't have it attached. It has a pocket that's closed with a thumb lock, recessed zipper. I don't have it zipped up right now. My favorite thing about this is look at these side gussets. Da, da, da. They're almost 3D like. I just love it. And it's such a unique construction. You do not need to turn this bag out at all. Not even the exterior, the way it goes together. She does these sides almost like a drop-in, if that makes any sense. And it is a drop-in lining. You might see in the background there, I got my friend's little wiener dog, Oscar, here. He is visiting. I'm dog sitting him, so he's chasing things around on the floor there. Yeah, so that's one. And then this is the one that we did for the class. We also have we did this as a sew along in September 2025. So if you want a slowed down version of this, you can always catch that on the membership side of the channel. Or if it's 18 months past September 2025, it is already released to the public side. So you just got to go looking for it there. It's got a zipper pocket with overlay and a large slip pocket as well. Materials I used in this bag, all my vinyls are from Galaxy Customs. This one here is the Patina collection, and this is the light pink and the Stormy. All my hardware is from Emmaline bags. I did do a raw edge type flap here. I show you how I do that. So I have edge painted that. I get all my edge paint from Emmaline bags as well. Interfacing in this, I chose to use Bouncy Firm, which I get from Serial Bagmakers, but you can use any kind of interfacing that you like. If you want to use Deckerville Light or EB Fuse Heavy or whatever the equivalent is for that, you can. I also put a piece of Deckerville Heavy in the bottom just to give it a little extra stability. What else? Again, this isn't a hard bag to make. It's really unique construction, which I love. I just love what Petal Sewing Patterns has to offer when it comes to new and unique ways of putting things together. So I am so happy that I got to sew this. I will eventually make the big one. So yeah, everything's linked down below. If at any time you do like this video, please do give me a thumbs up and a comment. And how about we get to making this bag?
So you're going to need some rivets, number 5 zipper tape, thumb lock, 2 zipper pulls, 2 D-rings, slider, 2 swivels, a zipper end, optional strap ends, and if you're going to do drop down handles like me, you'll also need 4 rectangle rings. So you're going to need 1 main front centerpiece, 2 contrast tops. Remember to interface these as per the pattern, very important, 2 side panels, main back, 1 of those, front pocket centerpiece, 2 front pocket side pieces mirrored to one another. Now here's my front pocket flap. I am doing it completely different. I have the back of my main one backed with some Deckerville Light. You can follow along in the pattern to do that, or do it as per the pattern. Your bottom piece, 2 gusset pieces, 2 handles, and I'm doing flop down handles, so I've done 4 connectors at that measurement there, backed with scraps of Deckerville Heavy, or Deckerville Light, sorry. Your crossbody or shoulder strap, main front side pieces, 2 strap connectors, I've also backed those with some Deckerville Light, 2 contrast lining pieces, 4 recessed zippers. Now I'm doing my lining pockets different. I'm doing my usual zipper pocket and my usual slip pocket. So go ahead and follow along in the pattern if you want to do that. Or follow along as per the pattern or my way. Okay, you're going to need your 4 side pieces, 2 sets mirrored to one another. Your 2 slip pocket pieces. Your front pocket lining piece. And your main front center. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my handles and my crossbody straps off camera. If you need lessons on how to do that, it's down below in the Bagmakers Basics playlist. Okay, so this is my flap that I'm doing different. I have backed my flap that I have cut in a shape with some Decavol light just to make it a little extra thickness as it's a thinner vinyl. I'm putting some double-sided tape on the wrong side of this, and then that extra piece that I had cut for the flap, I'm going to put these wrong sides together and stick them on like this. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my already cut piece to cut this super perfect for the flap. Next, you're going to go ahead and you're going to top stitch around this with a 1/2 inch seam allowance like I've done here. And then you can go ahead and you can trim this up to about 1/8 of an inch or so away from the stitching. Now in the pattern, she does do a turned flap. I just prefer a raw edge flap because I really love the detail of some edge paint. I think it looks super classy. So I'm going to go ahead and use 3 layers of base coat, 1 layer of color, and a layer of protecting gloss. So now we're going to work on our front panels. We got our center panel here and our side panels. Make sure you have them orientated properly like I have here. Go ahead and put them right sides together like so. You will notice at the top there's about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch triangle sticking out of the top. That's what we want. We're going to go ahead and sew with the seam allowance here and top stitch through those side pieces. I cannot give you the seam allowances or measurements, so make sure you are following along with the pattern. Again, make sure there's a slight overhang right at that top. You can see that little triangle piece, and then this will line up perfectly. Okay, so that's what that looks like done. Now you're going to take your front pocket lining piece, put it right sides together with this panel that we just created. Clip it in top. Clip along the top edge, I mean. Then we're going to go ahead and sew across here with the seam allowance in the pattern. Flip these wrong sides together and then top stitch. That's what that looks like here. Next, what we're going to do is take our main front center piece here and our main center top piece. We're going to put them right sides together like so. Make sure they're orientated properly with the tops and the bottoms. Go ahead, sew through there, flip this up, and then top stitch through the lining piece. Okay, so that's what that looks like there. I've already marked my top and bottom centers. We're going to take that front piece that we did, line up that bottom center with the piece we just sewn, clip it across, make sure it is nice and straight and even, and just use some clips to hold that in place like so. Again, make sure it's nice and straight, adjust as needed. Clip down the sides. We are not going to be sewing down that bottom because we need to put part of our thumb lock in there once this is all done. Next, we're going to take our main front side pieces and we're going to put them right sides together with everything, adding them into those clips. You could have basted before if you wanted to. I'm doing it all in one step to save a step. My clips are pretty strong and they hold it together. Same with the other side. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to sew down this with the seam allowance in the pattern down each side, and then put the seams towards the side pieces and top stitch through the sides. So this is what we got so far. It looks good. Now we're going to go ahead and do the flap. I've already gone ahead and installed my thumb lock using some thread locker to make sure the screws are nice and tight. We're going to match the center. These are both right sides up, our finished panel here, and our flap. Make sure it's nice and centered. Clip in place. You want this to look nice and centered because it's going to be a big focal point of the bag. Dexter's digging in the background if you can hear that. I'm sorry about that. Once that's in place, you can go ahead and you can baste that in place. Now we're doing the 4 short connectors. So we got our 2 connectors that are for the sides, and then the 4 connectors I added in. I've also added in some Decavo light down the center at 3/4 of an inch wide. We're drawing a center line down in the middle, and we're folding the long edges into that center line. Now the Decavo light just helps give the vinyl a little extra strength. So you're going to do that for all 4 and the other 2 long connectors as well. Put the long connectors aside for now. I've gone ahead and I've top stitched the 4 connectors I've added in. Do not do the long connectors. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these with the rectangle rings. So this is my add in here. I'm going to put some tape along the one edge of each of these, one of the short edges on the wrong side. Okay, then you're going to take your rectangle ring, you're going to loop it in and bring these wrong sides together and secure it with the tape at the bottom. And that'll be our 4 added in connectors to make it so our handles will flop down. Once you have those all done, you want to measure down either 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch from the rectangle ring. I'm doing 1 inch here, and I'm going to mark it with some chalk on all 4. And this is going to be our placement line for where we're going to put it onto the front and the back of the bag. Actually, I do 1 inch. I did 1 inch here. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead and mark as per the pattern piece for your handle placements, and it's the same with the connectors. You're going to line those placements up with that line that we drew on our connectors, or if you're just doing the handles like the pattern, same thing, you'd be connecting your patterns here. So you're going to go ahead and do that on the front panel. You're going to base that in place. Now we're going to take our contrast top. Make sure you have the top at the top and the bottom at the bottom here. I like to place it like this so I know the top is there, and then bring them right sides together. So it's going along the top of the pocket panel and the bottom edge of our top panel. Clip this in place. You may need your hump jumper for here, as it may get a little bit thick as you go over the handles or the connectors, because that flap is in there as well. Use lots of clips. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to sew across here, flip it all forward with the hand or the connectors or the handle going under, and then you are going to top stitch through the bottom panel. You may need a zipper foot here to top stitch through that bottom panel, as there's kind of close there. I am using my narrow foot, which really helps get into those tight places. Okay, so you can see that is all done. That looks good. Now we're going to go ahead to figure out where to install our thumb locks. So I'm putting my thumb locks together like so, and I'm putting my flap down where I want it to go, and I'm just going to mark where the little prongs are on that thumb lock part we are going to be installing. So make sure it's nice and centered. Make sure those marks all line up and that you're not doing them too low. You want to be able to give the pocket a little bit of give. Once you have those marks, you're going to reach into that opening in the bottom and make sure you're only grabbing that exterior, and you're going to cut the slits through there and install that slip part of the thumb lock there. I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to install a piece of deckable heavy behind those prongs and between and under the washer, just to give it a little extra strength and something for those prongs to grab onto. So again, I'm just going to double check it. We want this to be placed perfectly. And again, make sure you're only going through that exterior. Put on that deckable heavy piece, put on the washer, and I close my prongs inward. I don't know if that's right or wrong. It's always worked for me. I've never had a problem, so do it whichever way you usually do, or as per your manufacturer's instructions. I also like to go ahead and put a piece of duct tape or Gorilla Tape over top of the prongs, just so it protects the doesn't poke through any of the parts behind it. I'm also banging it with my mallet just to make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure it works. She looks great. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install some rivets. I just like to eyeball it, so I'm going to put one here and a one here. And I'm also going to put my nameplate nice and centered there. So that's what that looks like all done. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take our main back panel and the top piece. You're going to do this exactly the same as we did with the front panel. The only thing difference is we don't have that pocket. So now our back panel is done. You can go ahead and you can trim up your connectors if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to. Now we're going to take our bottom piece, open up that flap. We're going to mark our all four centers, so our long sides and our short sides of our bottom piece. And then we're going to put this right sides together with our front panel, matching up that center, clip in place. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to sew across here with the seam allowance in the pattern, and then you're going to turn it or press it so the seam is going towards the bottom panel, top stitch to the bottom panel, and then you're going to do the exact same thing with the opposite side. That's what that looks like all complete. Next, what we want to do is you're going to draw lines down the sides as per the pattern measurements. You're going to take some double-sided tape and line this up along that line, and then you're going to fold the side edges into that line, very similar to how we do a drop-in lining. Remember, in this bag, we do not have to turn anything out, which is absolutely amazing. So go ahead and bring those long edges into that side. For these seams where our bottoms meet and everything, you may have to take a mallet just to help soften up the vinyl there and take away some of that bulk and to make it stick a little bit. So go ahead and bang out those seams. Do the same with the opposite side. I know it seems weird. Trust me, this is an amazing process. I love this pattern because we have learned this skill. So again, take your mallet and bang out the thickness on those seams. And I'm also going to just put some clips on those seams to make sure they stay in place for now. Now you're going to go ahead and put some double-sided tape along the top edge and the bottom edge, and then you're just going to leave that for there for now. Moving on to our side panels. So we have our strap connectors here. I've marked them and put tape on them as per the pattern. I've marked my top and bottom centers of my side panel, and I'm going to stick this down nice and centered between those marks. Make sure it's definitely centered. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to top stitch these to the side panels. You're going to go up again, make sure it's nice and centered, up here across that bottom line and back down for both. Next, what you're going to do is take your D-ring, slide it in, and then you're going to go ahead and you are going to just clip the top like so, matching up that center at the top. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to stitch across here, across that line, and back up to the top to secure that D-ring. That's what that looks like all done. Now what we want to do is go ahead and put some tape along the top edge here. Okay, and then we're going to fold this down so it's nice and even with those little cutouts, if that makes sense. See how it has little cutouts on the side? You want it to be a nice straight line there. And go ahead and bang some of that thickness out of there. So again, you want to make it so it's a nice straight edge. You'll have a folded over edge, and then the sides are going to have a little bit of a raw edge, and that'll be covered soon. Just wait for it. Trust the process. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put 2 more rivets in here. I'm going to put one below the D-ring, or right about here. Again, I just eyeball it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we're going to take our side gusset pieces. So I'm going to find my centers. Now the placement of the deck of a light within the lines has to be accurate as per the pattern. I'm going to go ahead and put some double-sided tape along one of the long sides. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold that in over top of that interfacing, which is my Bouncy Firm, just on one side, like so. Then we're going to take our side panel, and with the raw edge of our gusset piece, we're going to match up our centers along the bottoms. I'm going to come up to the top, line up the top, clip it in place. Same with the opposite side. And then you're going to distribute that fabric all the way down and around that curve. Now, if it looks like it doesn't want to go around that curve, which it might not, we're going to go ahead and put little 1/8 of an inch snips just around that corner to help spread that fabric around that curve. Use lots of clips to clip this in place. Do the same on the opposite side. Snip, snip, snip around that curve. Clip in place. Then you're going to go ahead, do the same with the opposite side, and we're going to go ahead and sew that in place around here. You may want to put on a zipper foot or a narrow foot to get around there. You want to make sure you are just sewing those raw edges with the seam allowance in the pattern. My second side, I thought I would change my camera angle so you can see what I'm doing better from this direction. Go ahead and trim that up as per the measurement it says in the pattern. You want to definitely do this to reduce some of the bulk. We are creating that 3D gusseted side, which is amazing. Okay, so now we're going to take our finished front, back, and bottom panels. We're going to take our side panels along that finished side that we had already folded in with that double-sided tape. We're going to line up that center. Again, this is kind of like a drop-in lining. So you're matching up the folded edges of the main panel and the side panels as evenly as you possibly can. Lots of clips to hold that in place. Bringing up the side, and you'll find that the side panel lines up almost with the interfacing on the main panel. So use that as your guide. The main panels will be taller than the side panels. That is what you want. Use lots of clips to hold this in place. Lots and lots of clips, trust me. Do the same up the other side. Again, the side panel should line up almost where that interfacing meets. The pattern tells you exactly where that is. And this is why we don't have to turn it, because we are constructing it right side out, which is amazing. You're going to go ahead, take this, and you're going to top stitch with the seam allowance in the pattern all the way along there. And that's the first side done. Make sure everything was caught. And it was. And what I'm doing is I forgot to mention that I was leaving my threads long because I am going to pull them to the back and tie them in between the layers, so I do not have that back stitch. You can back stitch if you want to, but in the pattern it calls for tying them off in the back, but you can do whatever you're comfortable with. Just make sure you are tying them really, really good. Go ahead and do the opposite side in the exact same way. So that is both sides done. Look how amazing that looks. I'm just so impressed. Now we're going to take off the paper from the tape we put on the top to begin with. And now you're going to kind of fold in the sides like this and bring over that finished edge, over that raw edge of the side. You want to make sure you are definitely covering that up, and you're going to fold it down to the line that we already had marked on our panels at the very beginning when we did the interfacing. So fold down all of those, the front sides there. And again, when you get to where the sides are, make sure you're folding in that side so you're catching that raw edge. It's kind of going in, and I don't know if you can see this, kind of goes in and under and covers up the edge, and it makes it that 3D gusset. Super awesome. Lots of clips to hold it in place. Okay, so here it is. See how I am going to fold in the side kind of like that, and then bringing it over. You'll see the seam is going towards the main panels, which is what we want, and then you're folding over that overhang over the raw edge of the sides. Again, this side, see how you're kind of folding it in and bringing it over. Definitely want to make sure you catch those little raw edges, because I mean, it's vinyl, it's not going to fray, but you definitely don't want to have a raw edge there. Okay, and that's all ready for dropping in the lining. So now we're going to go ahead and work on our inside slip pocket. So I did do the slip pocket as per the pattern here. I know in the beginning I said I wasn't going to, but I did. So we're going to put them right sides together like so. We're going to clip the top and the bottoms. We're going to go ahead and sew along those with the seam allowance in the pattern. And then we're going to go ahead, trim up the seam allowance here to about 1/8 of an inch or so. I'm going to use my pinking shears here so I get a nice curve. I like to trim up my corners for a little less bulk and then turn this tube right side out. Poke out all of those seams and press that if you need to in place. Okay, so now we're taking our lining centers. I've made the marks as per the pattern along the top here. I'm going to go ahead, I put some double-sided tape along the bottom of my slip pocket so I can put it up to those lines, and that just helps hold it in place. Make sure it is nice and straight from the bottom. Adjust as needed. And we're just going to top stitch through that bottom, nowhere else. So that is done. Now we're going to take 2 of our side panels mirrored to one another, put them right sides together, so you want to make sure that the long edges are lining up nicely with that center lining piece. Do the same with the opposite side. And then you're going to sew down these sides and then push the seams towards the side panels and top stitch through the side panels. All right, so I already went ahead and did my zipper pocket like I do all my zipper pockets, and I've already gone ahead and put the side panels on the exact same way. You can close up that zipper pocket. We do not need it for turning. If you need a class on how I do my overlay, you can go ahead and see it in the Bagmakers Basic below. Okay, so I already did my zipper panel. My preferred method, I do it slightly different. I do have a class down below if you want to do it my way. With your 2 zipper panels, you're going to go ahead and mark the centers. I've already marked the centers of my front and back panel, so I'm going to take my back panel here, the one with the zipper pocket, and I'm going to put some tape along the top. You can use clips here if your machine is sensitive to the tape. So we have our panel right side up, and we have our zipper panel right side up. So the curvy side is closing to the left. You're going to stick this down to the tape like so. Then you're going to take your contrast lining piece, make sure you have your top and bottoms notched out for your centers, and you're going to put them right sides together, lining up that center mark, sandwiching the zipper panel, and stick it down all the way across. Keeping that tail of the zipper out of the way, you don't want to catch that in the stitching when we go to do it. We're going to sew across here, flip it up so our seam allowance is going towards the bottom, and top stitch through the lining bottom. So I went ahead and did that with both of them. You already have your lines marked on the back from when we interfaced and marked them earlier. What we want to do now is put these right sides together. You want to line up where that contrast lining and the bottom panels meet up so you have a nice continuous line. Go ahead and clip this in place. You'll be doing this for the other side, making sure your tails are out of the way, aligning up those two contrasting areas so you have continuous line, and you're also going to do that along the bottom. This is your standard box corner lining. So you're going to go ahead with the seam allowance in the pattern, and you're going to stitch down the sides, the bottom, and the other side, leaving the corners open for now. Once that's all done, you can go ahead and you can box those corners. So kind of bring the side seam and the bottom seam together. I like to just nest them together, a few clips to hold it in place. Same with the opposite side. So kind of pull it apart to bring those two seams together, nest them, and clip them in place, making sure that bottom seam is going the same direction on both sides. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and we are going to sew across those with the seam allowance in the pattern. Okay, so that is all done. Now what I would like to do, just so I can open up these side seams, is just below our drop-in lining mark line, I'm going to just do a small snip so I can open up that seam for when we go to tape around here. So you're going to put some tape along that above the drop-in lining line, open up those side seams like so, all the way around. I just love drop-in linings like this. So fast, don't have to turn anything. It's amazing. And then, yes, you guessed it, we're going to go ahead and fold the top right edge down into that line. Again, all the measurements for the markings are in the pattern. I cannot give them out, so make sure you're following along. Once we have that all done, we're ready to drop it into our exterior. So I like my zipper pocket to be at the back. That's the way I've orientated my zippers as well. So make sure it's orientated right. Kind of see where the centers are on our long sides, the front and the back. Clip in place, add it into the clips that we already had on the exterior. Same with the other side. Make sure those folded over edges are nice and even because we want to be catching both of them when we go to sew this shut. Match up the side seams, do the same thing. While you're here, make sure those raw edges of those sides are definitely still covered because this is going to set those all in place so they will not pop open. So just be very, very aware of those little raw edges that we are hiding with the folding down of the front and back panel. Go ahead and evenly distribute between all those quarter sections. That's what she looks like. Now we're going to go ahead and top stitch this all the way around. sure everything was caught, I already went ahead and I added in some rivets through all the layers at the top there. I put on my zipper pull and my zipper tab. I've attached my handles. My thumb lock is working great. Do all those finishing things. Do you know what, guys? That is all we have left to do. It is complete. It's a fast sew. It is super cute. Pat yourself on the back and we're done.
All right, that's it. That's all. What did you think of that? Not too bad, hey? Really unique how these sides go. I was super happy with how these turned out. I just love them. I think they are going to be amazing sellers at Craft Market this season. I will keep you posted on that. My first market is in 3 weeks. Anyways, again, if at any time you did like this video, please do give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you're planning on making this bag or what you thought of this video. If you'd like to support the channel further, you could always donate some money to the coffee account. That is linked down below. All of the money from the coffee account goes back into the channel to buy new equipment, patterns, materials, all of that fun stuff so I can keep giving content to you guys for free on here. Again, this bag was done on the membership side of the channel for September 2025. So long, you can catch that. I'll try to remember to put it at the end credits here. So take a look at the membership side. Maybe there's something that interests you as well. Anyways, until the next one, I'll catch you guys again. Bye.